Powerful jumbo jet airplane like helicopter V-22 helicopter, transformation, takeoff. This aircraft that looks like an alien product and can transform is not some movie special effects, but a real thing that has been around for 35 years. It is the American V-22 tilt-rotor aircraft, known as the ceiling of helicopters. It can not only take off and land vertically like a helicopter, but also, it can fly levelly at high speeds like a fixed-wing aircraft. Even the President of the United States uses it as his vehicle, so how did it transform and take off? This is the Travis Air Force Base in California, USA, following the photographer's lens. We will see the V22 Osprey transform into takeoff, the complete process of liftoff. I saw a V22 tilt-rotor aircraft deforming, and two rotor propulsion devices that can change direction are changing from a horizontal state to a vertical state. This process can be completed within a dozen seconds. When the propulsion device is in a vertical state, it can drive. The rotor generates upward lift like a helicopter, thereby achieving vertical takeoff and landing. When the propulsion device is parallel to the ground, it can generate forward thrust to achieve high-speed level flight. As the blades on the rotor slowly unfold, the aircraft will enter the startup state. Under the pilot's operation, the V-22's rotors began to rotate rapidly, and a strong female co-pilot also arrived belatedly. I saw him carrying his helmet and equipment, walking at a pace that 6 relatives did not recognize, quickly walking towards the hangar to check in and clock in, so as not to be deducted money. After the female pilot completed the time card, she put it on, helmet came to the scene and entered the cockpit from the tail of the fuselage to check the data and status of the aircraft. Two huge rotors were rotating rapidly. Each rotor has 3 blades that can be completely overlapped so as to save space. Fold the whole. The loading process takes about 90 seconds, as the camera zooms out. The overall picture of the V-22 is also displayed in front of us. Its fuselage is 17.5 meters long, which is the same length as a heavy fighter. Its wingspan is 14 meters and its height is 6.7 meters. Although the wing area is only 28 square meters, the wing area has reached 212 square meters. At this time, the flight engineer who was standing in the tail cabin doing nothing came to the side of the fuselage and began to perform manual inspection of the aircraft. I saw him knocking on the skin of the fuselage first, and then carefully checking the equipment compartment on the side of the fuselage. Close upper setting. After preparing the cabin, he squatted down and began to check the condition of the landing gear, mainly to see if there were any leaks in the tires and if there were any cracks in the landing gear. Due to the special design, the V-22 is particularly dangerous during takeoff and landing, so the landing gear needs to be inspected carefully to confirm that it is in good condition. After everything was normal, he stood up and began to observe the operating status of the propulsion device. Each of the V-22's propulsion units contains a V1107C turboshaft engine manufactured by Allison. Each engine can output 6,000 horsepower, and 2 of them can produce 12,000 horsepower. Even one of them can produce 12,000 horsepower. When the engine loses power, the other one can drive the 2 rotor systems at the same time until the pilot leaves the dangerous area and lands. After inspecting the propulsion device, the engineer went to the nose and the other side for machine inspection and could see the cockpit of the V-22. In the middle sat a male pilot and a female co-pilot. The 2 of them were chatting, laughing, and enjoying themselves inside. It's really too much for a cancer engineer to be doing maintenance outside in the bright sun alone, without knowing how to come out to help. There are 4 members in V-22, pilot and co-pilot. In the cockpit, a flight engineer was doing maintenance outside, and another person was doing maintenance inside the cabin. After the scruffy inspection and repairs were completed, the plane's propulsion device was slightly adjusted forward to assume a takeoff attitude, and the flight engineer who had completed the inspection stood at the nose of the plane, directly ahead, make movements toward the pilot to enable takeoff. Then, the 2 flight engineers retracted the ladder back into the cabin, and as the pilot operated the steering column and released the handbrake, the V-22 Osprey began to slowly slide towards the takeoff point. The maximum takeoff weight of the V-22 is 27.4 tons, and the maximum flight speed exceeds 500 kilometers per hour, which is more than twice that of ordinary transport helicopters. This is undoubtedly a huge leap. It can hold 13,700 liters of fuel internally, and the maximum range has reached 3,900 kilometers. The interior of the cabin can carry 24 soldiers or load, while carrying 9 tons of cargo. It can also hoist 6 tons of cargo, with a total load of more than 15 tons. And its transportation capacity is also stronger than that of ordinary helicopters. Although the safety of the V-22 has been questioned, there are more than 200 helicopters in service, and the production cost of each helicopter is as high as $100 million. this is equivalent to a price of more than 700 million yuan, which is more expensive than the mass-produced 5th-generation aircraft 635. The flight cost alone has reached hundreds of thousands of dollars per hour.